What's good? Welcome back to the God's Vibes podcast. We are talking today with a special guest. This is my dear friend, Julia. We've been on many adventures together, one of which is the God's Vibes Mastermind. And y'all, the God's Vibes Mastermind is shutting down on Sunday, July 9th at midnight. This is your last chance to get plugged into the mastermind, okay? Once enrollment shuts down, you can't get in there. So make sure that you get plugged in. Right now, we are offering 33% off when you pay in full, and we also have a payment plan option if that works better with your finances in this season. But if you know you've been led here on purpose, if you know that this is an answer to what you've been praying for, do not hesitate and take the leap. Do not let anything stand in the way of your breakthrough. You are, and position yourself to be, God's next success story. God wants to do what you currently deem impossible in your life, and He wants to work mightily in and through you. What on earth would you allow to stand in your way? I got questions. Don't. Okay? I encourage you, if you have any questions at all, you can email our team, info@julianapage.com. Otherwise, go to www.courageco.org and get plugged into the mastermind. You will get weekly live coaching. The content will be real. It will be relevant. It will be an answer to what God has been leading you to. Come and get what is yours to get. The bonuses are unreal. You get access to the Courage Co Masterclass bundle for free, just as a bonus for joining. That's an entire year of spiritual growth and personal development. So you get to join all of our live trainings for free and get all the replays on demand with the notes, so you can continue to unpack what is there. And if you've been on any of those, you know, it ain't a cute masterclass or challenge. Like the content is real and relevant and applicable and practical. Okay? Transformative if you apply it. Okay? You also get a 52 card declaration deck. I will personally mail it to you. You get 2 courses also for free just in joining. And you also get over 35 different journal prompts to really help you deepen your relationship with God. It's one of the best ways that we can receive from Him when we are inviting Holy Spirit into our process. It's truly a powerful thing. And you also get a self-coaching section as well. So much goodness all up in there. And you can, of course, be a part of the virtual small groups that we have every week and join our prayer calls as well. So much goodness, and the community is not random. I honestly believe that God has handpicked every single person that is designed to be in the mastermind for such a time as this. 100%. We pray and cover every single person and make sure that the right people get led here, and man, do they. It is truly profound what happens in there. Do not miss out on this opportunity. You've got a couple of days to decide, but do not hesitate. Go to www.courageco.org and get plugged in. Now, this interview is going to be such a powerful one. I'm so grateful for Julia's generous share of her story and a lot of different things that have happened recently in her life that she has been processing and walking through. So give yourself this next gift of listening to what she shares so graciously and listen all the way through to the end. Let's dive in. Hello, friend. Oh my goodness. This is just so silly to be able to connect with you. Oh my gosh. Like, we go way back. So it's just a joy to be able to sit and talk with you today. Welcome, Julia, to the God's Vibes podcast.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. So tell all the humans who you are.
So hi, everybody. My name is Julia, and I am a mother, a daughter, a wife, a friend, a sister, a caretaker, a mother of all trades. It seems like. But yeah, that's me. Just all those hats.
All the hats. All the hats. I love it. I love it. And in different seasons too, you discover more hats.
Yeah. Master builder.
Right. They just keep unfolding in all the coolest ways. Yes.
Mhm.
And we met way back. Do you want to share the story of how we got connected?
Yeah, so we met at a Celebrate Recovery meeting. It was like I guess it was like an introduction to Celebrate Recovery.
Yeah.
And that, what, gosh, almost
I want to say,
nine, what?
was it 16? 2016?
Yeah,
I think it was then.
so that's like,
7 years ago? Feels like
mhm.
9.
It feels like nine, 7, 9, close enough.
Right.
But I saw you in this kind of introduction class, and I immediately knew, who is that woman? I have to have her. I have to meet her. I have to know who she is. And it was like instant connection. And
And I was in a very different place. I'm like, why am I here? God, like, it's so funny.
yeah, but I immediately knew that you were just something different, something special, and I had to get close to you. I was like, I need her, Lord. I have to have her. We have to get closer.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And we have stopped talking since.
Never. I'm just thinking about, like, you interviewed me, and I remember I was sitting in like a Barnes and Noble parking lot taking a Celebrate Recovery interview. I'm like, can you lead people? Can you coach? And I'm like, yeah. Like, so funny.
That was already I mean, I could see all that just by meeting you in the first few minutes. You just
Yeah.
had such like what do I call you? Sunshine
Yeah. And Road Dog.
and road dog.
I think I probably have more nicknames. Who knows? Oh my God. And it's just such a joy, right? Because you do have like such a gift of being able to bring community and bring people together and invite people in your home. Just hospitality, right? And like a level of service that's unmatched. And I just think too of like all of the days that we would stand in the parking lot literally for hours. You would just like pop open your trunk and we would sit there and talk for hours and pray or like whatever needed to happen. And I'm like, what in the world? What in the
Yeah,
world?
we did that a lot, didn't we?
Yeah, a lot. A lot. The best,
We
right?
closed down the parking lot.
Right. Like there's no like the moon is outside. There's no other there's no other human in sight. And it's like, but it was all necessary. And I'm so grateful for that too, because it just makes me think for anybody listening too, you can pray for divine connections and you can pray if you don't have these people in your life for them to be brought into your life and for you to know without a doubt that those are your people and that there's God at work in your connection to them. Like he's going to start unlocking more than you know, because we couldn't have known the extent of like how we've evolved to where we are today, right? But it's like
No.
God did, like he's known what's been happening this entire time. So I just think about that. Just pray if you guys don't have these connections, pray for God to bring them into your life and give him room. Like he might guide you to a place, right? Like he guided me to a place I would not have been led to on my own, right? So
Mhm.
just for whoever that can encourage, I feel like that's a really big deal because you really don't know what you need sometimes until you meet them, right?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
good. So tell me a little bit too about your God journey, because I know we both have had very interesting God journeys and they haven't just been like straight and straightforward. So tell me a little bit about your relationship with God and how that's evolved in your life.
So my relationship with God started in 2007, and that's the year I gave myself to Christ, and He removed an addiction. The moment that I gave myself to Him, He just
Yeah.
took it away, and I haven't looked back since. And my relationship has just been growing. I remember when I was a baby Christian, and I was so on fire, and just got baptized, and it's like, Lord, let's do this. I want to do everything. I want to know all about you. And then I started to serve in the Celebrate Recovery movement, and it's been a movement because it's grown so big.
Yeah.
But in that time, what span of 10 years, we just got closer to Him, learned more about the miracles that he can do in people's lives if we just, do the work.
Yeah.
And he's just shown up so many, many, many times, from healing my mom in a big car accident, bringing her to Austin, to my daughter getting into, the high school that she was supposed to get into, and my just blessing my husband beyond belief. And in this new season, just getting closer to him, but at the same time, we talked about this earlier about resisting the season that I was in.
Yeah.
And I feel like, 10 years of serving, and now I find myself not serving at all. COVID kind of stopped a lot of that,
Yeah.
as far as being in person,
And you
and
gotta
kind of
speak
shifted.
to like your level of service, because I feel like it wasn't like normal. Like the amount of like prayer warrioring that you do, like the interceding, like you truly have a gift of like laying on of hands, right? Like that ministry, building community, sponsoring people in some of the hardest seasons of their life. Like this was not like a casual, I was just volunteering at church. Like this was like your entire life for 10 years. Like you were definitely
It was, yeah.
on fire and like in step with God in a lot of ways, and could be such a minister to people in that way. Like I even think, right? Like I coming to Celebrate Recovery was just in this journey of like getting a Bible. Like I was raised Catholic, right? But now I'm like buying a Bible. I'm starting to read it. I'm trying to figure out how this prayer thing works. Like, what do we do? Do we write it down? Do we say it out loud? Like, how does prayer work, right? People at CR like praying over me, and I'm like, what is this? I've never had this out, right? Like, so you can't minimize like how important that is. Like how I pray today is actually insane for somebody that didn't know how to pray,
Yeah.
right? And I believe it was unlocked at that time, right? So it's like you can't. I just want people to understand that like the level of service was crazy. It's like you're at church how many days a week? And then when
Right.
you're not there, you're meeting with people outside, having coffee with them, praying with them. Like this was like full time,
Yeah.
time.
And I had a
Years.
full-time job.
And a full-time job. Like let's like you're saying it casually, but I'm like, can we actually do you know what I mean? It's like you could be like driving to work and taking a call to pray for somebody, right?
Yeah.
And then like working and like ministering in the workplace too. Like you truly made that your mission field also in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. And then still, showing up after work for hours. It's not just for hours to make sure that you're dedicating time to truly investing in ministering to other people. So this was not a small thing, and you were graced for it too, I believe, right? But this was 10 years of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So then what happens after the 10-year mark? Like what starts to happen?
After the 10-year mark, I realized that my ministry really needed to be at home, really needed it to be at home with my husband and my children, and my new season with my mom. And that totally shifted everything. Once my eyes were open to, okay, this is the new calling, this is the new place where you're needed, then things just started to shift. My relationship with my husband started to grow in directions and we started exploring things that we didn't even know about each other. And we've been married 13 years. So, the first 10, I was so busy, I didn't really get a chance to focus on the marriage. And since then, it's evolved, it's grown, it's nourished, it's flourished, it's just beautiful. And my daughter's graduated from high school, and now she's on her own, and she's doing all the things that she wants to do. So things have just evolved, and
And that was
for the
the
good.
thing too, like being on the outside, is that God was preparing you for that. Like it was an interesting time because it was like at one point you were being stirred up in these like dreams and desires that you had for your life. But then it was also like knowing that it wasn't time for those, and that like your family is what you were being called to, so that you could be there with your daughter before she graduates, so that you can really revive your relationship and bring something entirely new to that. Like God wanted to do a new thing there. So you had to be fully present to do that. Or now care for your mom. Like these were things that like, it was wild to watch on the outside. And this happens so often to people where it's like, we're really amped and excited to go launch into this thing. And God's like, not yet. And you're like, but what now? And he's like, oh yeah, this and some more of this. And you're like, wait, what? Right? So again, some context that was like you were gearing up to launch into something that God was stirring you up in, but then he was just letting you know too that that's coming, but not yet, because these things are
Not yet.
And
Right.
that's a really hard thing to be obedient to. So definitely want to give you credit for that.
Mm-hmm. And I tried, and it's like, nope. I tried, and I'd get momentum, and then I'd just get, nope. You have to sit. You're going to have to do this right now. And
or
no matter how,
not even not work, you're like, what do I do with my life? Like,
yeah, that was a tough
that
season.
transition, right? Like, who am I when I'm not working?
That was really tough trying to figure that out. But I did. I figured it out. And now it's just working on me. This is a new season for me right now, and working on me and my health, and that's important. And he showed me that's important. That's what I need to work on. And
how did he bring you to that? Right. So you're describing how, you know, you knew to move out of ministry and come let your family be your ministry. And that became like evident. So you just at one point fully surrendered to that because you just knew like the signs were all there and God was gracing you for it in so many ways. And you were so thankful too to be present. Like it was what you had prayed for, but didn't know how it was going to come. Right. And now it's almost like he's inviting you into or ushering you into a new season again. So what has that been like for you to now be like, okay, so now there's actually a different ministry that I haven't been ministering to and God wants to give attention. How did that happen?
I got sick. Actually. You know, once my mom was better, I got sick, and I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And I knew that that it could be reversed, that I could get rid of it, but I had to really, really focus on me and my health. And for the past couple of years, that's what I've been doing, is really focusing on that. And he's brought, you know, several, you know, tools in, several people to kind of help me in that area, whether it be, you know, the doctor or, you know, a special type of new way of living, new way of life, new way of eating, nutritionists, just different things that helped me get through that season. And now that I'm on the other side, it's like we're going to dig deeper. Now that you're okay and you're going to be all right, we're gonna dig a little deeper, because there's some other things that I want to get rid of. So that's where I am, and that's what led me to the Mastermind, the Courage Co, and the Courage Co community, and just seeking other avenues to help me dig deeper into what's been holding me back for a long time. And the Mastermind, the Courage Co, has helped in the sense that it gives you the tools to dig deep. Like one of the lessons was mind your own business.
It was, and it sounds just like that. Mind your business. It's like calling you out just in the title.
Yes. And I was going through a season with my son and daughter-in-law, and I can be pretty pushy sometimes. And God was saying, no, you need to mind your own business, stay out of my way, get out of my lane, and let me do the work. And that was really, really eye-opening for me, because when I did mind my own business, when I kept my mouth shut, when I didn't say the things that I wanted to say and just let him work, things totally shifted.
Yeah.
They just shifted. Yeah.
it was so powerful too, because you actually were, it was wild, right? So the way I remembered, you can correct me if I'm missing any of the details, but the way I remember experiencing this, right? So like you're going through a lesson, you're like, man, like I can't get it. And it was like the funniest thing because it's like in plain writing. It's just the title, like mind your own business, like literally. But you're like, I can't get this lesson. Like I've been like back and forth on it. Like it's taking me like over a week to just get
Yeah,
this lesson. And
yeah,
sometimes that's the whole point, right? Like there's so much content in the mastermind, but sometimes like that right now is like years of life change and you got it finally. It took you a week, but like it would have been years, right? So you get this breakthrough, then you are on the live coaching call that we have, and you're like going to have a meeting. And it was, you were just able to get prayer and coaching in that moment, go have the meeting and jump back on and share a testimony. And we were like, yes, it was like the coolest moment. So it was just so fun to see. And it's like, to me, that doesn't just happen. It was truly a God at work moment. And what it did for you and how it encouraged you and how you knew you were supported too was just a
hmm
different level of grace and confidence to go into that situation and know that God was in it with you and that he
yeah.
already had it. It was the most neat thing to witness how he was working. It was so
Yeah.
fun.
I listened to that lesson at least 4 times, and I
Yeah.
just couldn't get it.
Yeah.
And then finally one day I just said, no, today is the day I'm gonna like sit and
Yes.
do it. And once I did that, everything just kind of clicked, and I was like, oh, oh, oh.
This is what
and
that
then,
means.
and then on that prayer, on that call in the morning, the ladies just backing me up, saying, you can do this, we got you. And I knew that I was covered, and I was covered because when I went in there and I let my daughter-in-law just speak whatever she had to say, and any other time I would have said something,
Yeah.
but this time I didn't. I was like, no,
Yeah.
okay, I receive it, I receive it, I receive it, and I'll try to do better. And
Yes.
that was tough. That was tough, but not as tough as it would have been if I hadn't gone through the lesson and if I hadn't been covered by my community.
Yeah. And he's continuing, right, to give you so much wisdom. And I call them divine downloads and just strategies and ways to really love well, right? Or how you can change to really serve that relationship and let him work, right?
Yeah.
Like he's giving you
Yeah.
so much powerful guidance as you're trusting him now.
Yes, I can see the enemy when he shows up. It's like, I know you're there. Get behind me, Satan. No, we're not going to fall for this trick. I fell for this trick for many, many years, and I'm not falling for it no more. I
Yes.
see you for what you are, and you're
Yes.
not welcome anymore in my home. So yeah,
But
it's
like
been
it's,
really,
you
really
don't take the bait, right? Like now you're aware
fun.
of what's beyond you. Like it's not just what you're thinking, it's not just what you're feeling or getting caught up in emotions. It's like I'm recognizing how the enemy comes to kill, steal, and destroy in family relationships or dynamics, and I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it. Like there's a different like sass now, really
Hmm.
authority, right? But like
Yeah.
there's a different level of sass now that comes out, and I personally enjoy it. Like,
You're not welcome. Mm-mm.
no,
Get behind me. I see you. I
I
see
see
you.
you. I see what you're doing.
Mhm.
Not today.
Not today. But God's been so good. He's been
Yeah.
so good. He's just shown up so many times, so many ways, so many different things. That's just one, just the ladies in the group are so nice, so sweet. I've learned so much from them. And the lessons are awesome. And the little nuggets that you get in between, it's like, oh, yeah, I want to do that one. Yes, the personality. Yes, yes, yes. Just dig deeper.
Yeah. It's truly digging deeper. We were talking about how it's really like your inner game, right? Before God will ever deploy you into like a new mission, a new calling, a new assignment, it's like he's got to make sure, and he cares far more, that your insides are right. Do you know what I mean? That
Mhm.
your mind is right, that your heart is right, that your emotions are right, that like you're right. Because how can he trust you with more and to steward that well when he knows that you're not able to, right? Like you don't have the capacity for it. And that's something that you train It's something you cultivate, and it's something that you develop, right? And it's really powerful for you, particularly, right, to be in a space where you can just receive and you don't have to give anything.
Yeah.
That is like a countercultural narrative for you, right? Like that's shifting how you've shown up in your life. Like you don't actually have to give anything, although you do, right? You contribute, but it's like you don't have to. That's literally not what the space is for. It's for you to come in there, get the breakthrough that God has specifically for you. And that's the most powerful thing is you're witnessing like it's one lesson for somebody else. It's a different lesson for somebody else, but it's like everybody is getting their breakthrough, right? And everybody is supporting and championing that as well, right? And you just get to receive lessons, support, encouragement, breakthrough, all of that versus just being fully dedicated to having to come give something again. And I think that's so powerful for you.
Totally different. Yeah. And powerful.
Yeah.
Different for sure. For sure.
It's so good. So
I love it.
In this season of like the ministry of me, God is showing you that it's important to invest in you. And what has that been like, right? Because this is so common where we don't know how to matter is the best way I would describe it. It's like we know that we do. Obviously, like the level of giving and contributing to people is clear, but it's like when it comes down to us actually honoring ourselves or giving space for ourselves or reflecting on how we're doing or evaluating our health, not just physical, but mental, emotional, spiritual, relational, right? Like, how am I doing? How is my heart? Like, that gets neglected. And so then when it gets to this point where it's like, oh, yeah, God wants to work on you. And you're like, how? What do we do? Where do we start? So tell me what that's been like, because that is scary and super intimidating, right? And I feel like it's relatable to so many people, no matter what season you're in or what age you are. Like it's a scary thing to sit and start being still with you.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I didn't realize how much I needed this until there was one weekend, and I could just feel like this heaviness upon me. And I woke up and I didn't want to talk. I started to kind of shut down and just back away. I didn't want to talk to my husband, didn't want to talk to nobody. But it's a Sunday, so we go to church, and then I'm in church and I can't stop crying. The tears are just coming and I feel the heaviness. And I'm like, what is going on? You know, why is this happening? What am I feeling? And it is scary because I don't know what to do. Right. So I come home and I'm still in tears. I can't even talk. God's like, shut the mouth. And I finally get to go. I said, I'm going to just go for a walk. And I'm walking and I'm crying and I'm talking to him. And as I'm walking, I don't even get halfway through the block, and I can feel just everything just start lifting and evaporating, just kind of just coming off of me. And I was like, oh, this is what I needed. I needed to get out. I needed to go for that walk. I needed that one-on-one time. I needed to just pour out my feelings to you and in a space where I could still receive all that you're giving me, like the sunshine, the leaves, the grass, the air, all this good stuff outside. And once I realized that, it clicked again, like, oh, you need this. You have to have this. God showed me you have to have this in your life, this release, or else you're not able to function. And so he's giving me like these little nuggets, like, oh, okay, you need this. You need to eat right, because if you don't, you're going to get sick. You need to go outside. You need to be in nature. You have to have it, because if you don't, you're going to get sick. So he's just giving me all these little bits of stuff that I need to develop myself and to nourish myself and to just kind of replenish myself, because I've been given out to everybody else for so long that giving back to me, I didn't even know how to do it. I didn't even know what it looked like. Yeah. But I found it when I took that walk, and it was so good. It was so good.
I love it. I was reflecting earlier and, I was thinking about obedience because we make that a bad word, but it's like we don't obey God to get something from him. We obey God to get to him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or it's like there's such a difference between serving God and knowing God and just being in relationship with him.
Yeah.
Right? And it's like when we can just treasure the seek and like the having the relationship with God, it's somehow the way God does it brings order and ease to these other details of our life. But getting there is usually the thing that typically the enemy fights us on the most. It's like we make up our mind to do something and then a distraction comes up. So we choose the distraction. Or like we really wanted to just go for that walk, but all of a sudden like a family member has a crisis that's not really a crisis. And we've got this pattern of putting them first. So suddenly we deny ourselves again. But there's not like when we don't have, we call them like the daily 5 in the mastermind, right? Well, we don't have these sets. It's almost like a divine prescription for how to care for ourselves. So we can let our yes be yes and our no be no and not overcommit ourselves and set healthy boundaries to what we can carry, what is ours to carry and what is not. When we don't have that, we can't stand firm in those moments. And we choose the temptation. We choose the distraction. We choose the other option versus investing ourselves because that's been programmed, right? And so this work of like reorienting yourself to actually mattering and taking up space is a crazy concept. So I want people to understand that it might sound insignificant to go for a walk, but it is not. Like, do you know what I mean? Like everything can shift when you go for a walk. Like take the walk, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're getting like literal like sunshine, God shine on you, not just like vitamin D. Like you're getting like, this could be when God talks to you. This could be when he reorients you so that you can face the priorities in your life differently. Like you have to choose to say yes to that. So that's kind of how I would distinguish what those things are. It's like all of the little like gentle promptings or beckonings or little whispers that you get. Do you listen or ignore it? Right? Like I know for me, and part of my story, I had to break 2 wrists to finally start listening. But we don't have to get to that point. I have apparently, right? But I never would wish that upon anybody. So I'm curious for you too, because we all wrestle with that. Like, will you just simply listen? Because God talks in a whisper, not like a loud voice. And he sort of invites or ushers us into things. He doesn't command us into them. So it's like, are you going to make space for it and choose it, or are you going to keep choosing other things? And we get to do that every day. So I'm just curious what that's been like for you, because it sounds to me that you have been choosing to listen more so than deny.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just had an encounter just the other day or just yesterday about choosing to do what he wants me to do. And I was talking to you about it earlier. So I have this room in my house where there's this nice, fluffy, comfy chair that I sit in. And there was a season where I would, journal and write my prayers and just sit and be with him. But then there was a big season where I wouldn't go back to that chair. And I passed by it every day.
Yeah.
And I could see it like calling me and calling me. I would just, go for the walk. Okay, Lord, I'm going to get you this way. I'm not going to go sit in that chair, but I'm going to get you this way. Yeah. And yesterday, I felt that chair calling me. And then I felt like this, like a heaviness, like I was super tired. And like, you've been working really hard. You need to come sit in this chair. So I did. Me and Kitty, my dog, we went and sat in the chair.
You have to tell them the story. Why is the dog called Kitty? Because it's hilarious. So like help them understand what just happened there.
So Kitty is from Uvalde. She was abandoned in a truck outside a dog pound. This is one of the dog pounds where they euthanize the dogs. So APA went out there and got all the dogs and cats and brought them to Austin. And then they found Kitty in this abandoned truck outside. And poor little Kitty was so little. She's a little toy Yorkie or something. And so she was so little, so they put her with the mama cats. And so when she got here, she kind of pounced. She wouldn't, jump, she'd pounce like a cat.
Oh my gosh.
So that's hence where the name came from, Kitty.
And still the size of a cat too, like a little kitten. So it's hilarious.
Yes, my baby. So me and Kitty sat down and we just kind of drifted. I was listening to one of your podcasts and I just kind of drifted to sleep. And I had an invitation from my sister. I was able to see my sister, who I haven't seen in 29 years. My sister passed away 29 years ago, 30 years ago next year. And I was able to see her, and it was so real. It was so real. I could hug her. We were rolling around. I was screaming like a crazy woman. Yeah. And it just it was so good to see her. But I wouldn't have gotten that if I hadn't listened and gone and taken the time to sit and be still. So that's like the other little nugget that I'm getting in this season. Sit and be still. Sit and be still. And I will show you what it is that I want you to do. I will show you what it is that you need. I will help you to prune the things that are not of me, that are still in there. And so that's where I'm at now, is just sit and be still and come to the couch. Yeah. It's like come to the table, come to the couch.
Come to the couch.
Come to the fluffy chair.
But it's just, what I love about that is this invitation to the couch, right? Is an invitation to a God encounter, which you experience. And that's one of the most beautiful ways to really relate with God. It can be, an open vision. It can be a dream. It could be like an encounter where you're like literally in your house sitting in the chair, but you are definitely in a different place and like witnessing that happen, which is real, right? Like it's as real and clear as day to you. But God has so many ways to relate with us that are not just reading his word. That's a huge way. That's how we know that God talks, right? And what the truth is. But there's so many ways that he likes to relate with us and bring healing and bring breakthrough, bring a shift in perspective so you can see it through his eyes, bring the right heart transformation that you need to face things in your life. Like, these happen in encounters with God, right? And then when we get them, we release encounters with God to other people. It's amazing. So it's like, that's what we're missing when we don't choose to say yes.
Yes, for sure.
And the enemy hopes that we never experience that, because when we do, it's like, of course you want to go back to the couch now.
Yeah, I want to go back to the couch right now. Yeah. It's, call me again. I'm coming, just anytime, Lord, I'm going to come,
Yeah. And we were talking earlier, like the couch behind me, right? Like, this is like the first like silly, I don't even know what color it is. Some like weird yellow, right? But it was like the first like weird purchase that I got when I had moved to Texas. Cause I'm like, you need something that's local, right? But like, that was like the couch where I've like written books. I've had all this prayer time with God and I've had major breakthrough happen. I'm like, I can't get rid of the couch. Like, the couch stays, right? Like, so like, it's so important though, that you have invite God into that. Like, ask him where that space is. Some people, it's a prayer closet for them, but there's a space. Like, for me, it was the driver's seat of a car on a break. Sometimes, like, that's where I would meet with God. But it's like, you've got to have these places where you can meet with him, right? I was sharing that in his presence is where our safety is. So when we get into his presence, there's fullness of joy, but it's our safety, it's our protection, it's the wisdom, it's the strategy, it's the encounter. It's like everything we need. That's what that means. And there's no limits on how God can encounter us or get a message to us. No limits to that. No. It's like, just get to the couch.
Right.
Get to the couch.
I've got something for you. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Or it's that idea. It's this thing that's going to unlock a new level of expression in you. It's a healing that you need. It's this freedom that you didn't know you were bound, and I'm going to just release to you, right? Like, it's beyond literally what we can think or imagine. And it will come in a way that we can't expect, but it'll be exactly what we need when we need it and when we can receive it. But
Yeah.
you just got to say yes.
Yeah. Because I found out that, I'm working on some characteristics that I need to break down and rebuild. And one of the characteristics that came up was loneliness. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how lonely I've been for so long.
Yeah.
And it was in that encounter that he showed me that's one of the things that has been holding you back, that loneliness. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, here it is. Here's what this thing is. Now you
Mm-hmm.
know, and here's how I can help you process this or unpack this so that this no longer holds you back. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
another important thing. Like, you have people in community, the mastermind, right? Coaching, so much support in your life to help you process something like that. So that's
Yeah.
another encouragement to people, is to make sure that you do have sound counsel, because there's wisdom in a multitude of counselors, right? Not everybody is equipped to help you process a God encounter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you could tell that to the wrong person and they could say all sorts of things that would just like shut down immediately what God just released to you. So it's so important. I don't want to just like skirt past that. Like, actually having people that can receive that and hear that and really press in and ask the Lord, what are you revealing to your daughter when you give her this encounter? Right? How can I help her process that? Is there anything that I can offer, add that will help her and guide her?
Mm.
Right? When we don't have that, we're kind of like, what just happened? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And we
Yeah.
can attach a meaning to it that might not serve us. So I think it's really important to make sure, again, that you have a space to really walk out all things spiritual, because that's a whole different realm that we're not used to relating with, operating in, all of the above.
Yeah. One of the things that I've learned in this Courage Co mastermind is to advocate for myself,
Yeah.
and which had I no, it hasn't been happening. Advocate for who? Who?
Yeah.
For yourself. It's like, oh, okay. You mean I get to do what I really want to do? I don't have to do what she's telling me to do. And you helped me with that, making a decision on whether to take my mom to the cabin or not the other day. And I knew that she should not go with us. That was my what is it? Non-negotiable. You really can't go, Mom. But any other time I would have given in to her and taken her anyway, and just sacrificed all my time and all the plans that I had just to make her happy. But it wasn't about her. It was and that's what you taught me, that it wasn't about her. It was about doing the things that I needed to do, what I had planned out to do for my nieces to have, so they could have a good time. And we did. I didn't take her,
Yeah.
and she was not happy.
Yeah.
But you know what? We had a really good time. We had a blast, and it was so nice, and it was everything that I wanted it to be. And we made memories that'll last a lifetime for them,
Yeah.
and they can't. Nothing's going to take that away. And so, thank you for that, because you helped me to advocate for myself and what I really, really wanted to do.
Yeah.
And that's new too.
And in a lot of ways, what you were being led to do, and you trusted it, right? Like, when we're so used to some common words that people can relate with, like people pleasing behavior or codependent dynamics, when we're so used to that, it's like wired into your being. So it's a very hard thing in the moment to just choose different, just do what you want. Like, no, like, it doesn't just happen like that. You've actually got to process it and decide. Like, you've got to be able to like recognize, oh, there's this pattern that I do where I constantly like deny what I'm actually being inspired and led to do to make sure that this person is happy, when really they're not going to be happy. And this is not a good situation. And we're going to totally miss what the intention of this entire thing is, and be miserable and angry and like turn that into an entirely different experience, which is not it. Right. So the hard thing is to get in the moment and be still and own the wisdom that you've had, how you've been being led, the desire of your heart, and choose it and stand firm and set the boundaries that you need and see it all the way through. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to have moments and opportunities to keep giving in, because those will still show up. The minute we make a decision, it's like, how sure are you? Right? And you stayed the course, right? And had an amazing experience, right? And you still get these beautiful times with your mom, right? But that wasn't the moment.
No.
We've got to protect these moments and really set healthy boundaries, right? And choose them, but know that you're working against a pattern. And to break one, you have to know what it is and to decide intentionally and have staying power to see it all the way through,
Yeah.
right? It's this holding pattern of whatever the lies might be. I'm a bad person. So-and-so's gonna be mad at me. Like whatever the things are, it's like, no. Like I'm not listening to that. I'm not taking the bait. My intention is to like cover all these nieces with love, give them an adventure of a lifetime that they're gonna look forward to. Right? That's the mission here.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what I'm committed to, and that's what I'm gonna hold and stay to no matter what, and ensure that that happens. And that I will be a facilitator of. And I can't choose both. So I have to decide and go all in. And if somebody is upset with me for a moment, I'm okay. They can be upset with me. That's their work.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be upset with me. And I'm going to own what I'm being led to do so that I don't reject me. I don't beat myself up. I don't bully me. I don't get angry and frustrated and make a bigger messes all around me. Right? Kind of like passive behavior. Like I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Like I'm going to own what I'm being led to do and steward that well. And not everybody's going to like it. And I'm okay with that.
So all that is new for me. Yes! But I did it.
She's like, all of that is brand new to me. And you just lived it. And that's so powerful because there's no teacher like lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like now that you know that that was really, really hard and it took a lot of courage to face and walk that whole thing out. Now you know that you did that and you were rewarded for making the choice that you were inspired to make. Catch that, right? Now, the next time you have an opportunity to that, you can do it. You've done it before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know? So they're not easier per se. You just have more experience. Right.
Yeah. And I know what the outcome would be. It's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Like it's not going to be the end of the world. Right.
Mm-hmm. No.
Like there's so many adventures that I get to do with my mom, so many experiences, right? She's going to get time with the nieces, all of that. But this is not that one. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and it's okay. It was okay. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was great. Great time.
Like I want to go back to the cabin too. The couch in the cabin.
For sure. Maybe put
the couch on the couch in the cabin. There we go.
My two favorite places. Two favorite places.
Yeah. And we have to work hard. This is, to me, the scripture that I'm getting is labor to enter into his rest. Okay. This is literal labor to enter into his rest, because that is the actual work. Like we think that we need to be like working unto the Lord, right? Like we are meant to do everything as unto God, right? But we think that like working is like being busy or being productive or whatever we assign to that. But like the real work is making sure that you get into his presence, making sure that you read that word, because your word, the word of God that you release into the world, that's how you speak to your mountains. That's how you actually operate in authority. And if you don't know it, and if it's not stored up in your heart, what authority do you have? Yeah. If you have any, you don't know you have it, right? So it's like, it's so important to be making that, or like these encounters with God, or the strategies, the downloads, the answers to these desires of your hearts, and your prayers come from being in relationship with him.
Yes.
Right. And when we miss that, we miss out so much. But the labor is real because the distractions will be there. The temptations will be there. Other people having needs will be there. People vying for your attention, your time, your schedule will be there. So it's like, know that and have a way that you know what to do when those things happen, so that you are constantly laboring and practicing getting into his presence no matter what.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That's it. Because when you get in there, everything gets resolved. Right? Like everything works itself out. It does every time. Right? We get the peace we need. We get the relief we need. The correction a lot of times that we need.
Oh, yeah.
That gentle correction, you know? that comes through. Sometimes it's a sledgehammer. It can feel like that, right? But we get the direction that we need, right? The redirection. But we miss all of that when we choose, I'll say, like, lesser things. Like, check the labor. Like, all of your doing, if it doesn't get you like the breakthrough, the answer to prayer, the wisdom, the guidance, the sound counsel that you need, was it worth it?
Right.
You know, you could spend 15 minutes in God's presence, and that's like a whole week.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right? Like, he maximizes your time because he operates outside of it. So like, all of these days of being busy nonstop, like having a full calendar, like, where is it getting you when you could just take at least 15 and he could give you everything you need?
Yep.
Such a huge lesson, because we get this at every level. Do you know what I mean? It's like every level requires a deeper level of dependency, a higher level of seeking. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A deeper surrender, a deeper trust. Like, it's got to go deeper if you're going to be going higher or wider, right? It just makes sense when you picture like those giant trees, like their root systems are crazy, but like, we've got to be like that too. We've got to be like super deep so we can actually be grounded for all that stuff that comes, right? Because like, the more exposure you get, let's say, there's going to be even more people asking for your attention, right? Another project or another thing added to your calendar is another thing that's going to require your capacity, your energy, your focus, your emotions, your mind, right? So it's like, we've got to have God directing that. And if we don't, we've already seen that movie before. We know what happens. Like, we turn into like some psychotic version of ourselves. We engage in all sorts of crazy making and make messes that we have to go clean up.
Yep.
And it's kind of like, you done? You
want to wait, Lord, just one more, Lord, just one more.
You want to circle the mountain again? Or are you good? Like, run it out.
I am so done of being in the wilderness. So done of being there. I'm ready to just get out of Egypt.
Yeah.
Get out of Egypt, get out of the wilderness, and take me to the promised land, Lord.
Yeah. But what I love about that is it's cooperating, you know?
Yeah.
It's not just like, God help. He's like, hello, I am. Like, eat with me, spend some time with me, like, actually like receive what I'm giving you. Like, I am doing all those things. You just have to slow down and see it.
Yeah.
Which you're doing.
Exactly. Yes. And I had no clue how rewarding it would be if I just sat down and be still.
Yep. So good. So what now are you most looking forward to now that you're starting to really lean in and trust in an entirely new level?
So working in the way that he wants me to work, like you said, give him that time and let him show you. And then let him show you, okay, is this going to benefit you? Is this not going to benefit you? Is this going to be for my glory, or is it not going to be for my glory? So working with him and for him. I'm looking forward to doing everything like that.
I love that. I love that too, because it's something that is actually practical. But when we just say it, like, it's like one of those things people would say, like, trust God. And you're like, thanks, bro. Like, what the heck? Like, what does that even mean? Right? Like, fun for you to say, like, if you only knew like what I was dealing with, like, you just throw trust God on it. It's one of those things that we have to actualize, and we have to discover what that means personally for ourselves. Right? So to start seeking God intentionally above all other things, can you say that you're doing that with all your heart? That would be a first check for me, right? So it's like, okay, do you truly love God with everything that you are? I'd be like, I could see some other things that I'm putting before that. Or it's like, how strong is your seek? I'm like, my seek is kind of weak. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not like pursuing this thing. Like, think about like how you pursue a business, or I know, a promotion or a relationship. Like, the pursuit is real, right? Like, are you actually pursuing God like that? But you're expecting him to lavish all this goodness on you. Like, what's that about? Right? So making this practical, I like to say, when we actually answer our questions, we get the best answers. You know, a lot of times we're like, what is happening, or how, right? It's like, answer it. Answer it. Like, you will get the answer when you literally sit and answer that question. So sometimes just even answering questions with God is helpful. But these are things that it's like, he will tell you what to do. Like, right now, going for walks, spending time on the couch, eating certain things. He's revealed different things to equip you in this season. And that is unique and personal to you. And as you work that, he's going to reveal more and more and guide you into more and more. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm so looking forward to that because I know it's going to be such a blessing. It's going to be not only to me, but to my surroundings, to the people around me, to anybody that I encounter. It's going to be a blessing to everybody.
So good.
Yeah.
Like when we reorient ourselves to him, he reorients everything around us. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like when we orbit around him, he changes everything that's connected to us in the best way for the highest good, right? It's so powerful. But just think on that, because again, that is why whenever you are tempted to not spend time with God, get curious, right? Like when I know like a fear is dropping into my spirit, or like an anxiety is showing up, or an insecurity is being activated, I'm like, whoop, like what am I on to? You know what I mean? Now I'm like, okay, like what is at stake here? What is maybe the enemy of my soul trying to divert my attention from? What is he thinking I don't access? And then I'm like, game on, bro. Like I'm going harder at that thing. You know what I mean? So now I just invite people to get curious about it. It's like, okay, when I'm tempted to not show up, what's talking? Is it a pattern? Is it an emotion? Is it a fear? Is it like the enemy creating some sort of diversion that's not really worth my time?
Yeah.
Right? When we just pay attention, it's like, no, I'm going to the couch. You know what I mean? When we pay attention, we can choose. So I think that's such a big deal. Like be on to how you are tempted out of the things that serve you the most.
Yeah.
Because that is the real work, is to start choosing them now. When it comes to like this ministry of you, it's like, how do I actually choose me and prioritize me so I can give people the best of me?
Right.
That will never happen if I don't choose me and if I don't support me. And the crazy thing too is it does also change dynamics with people. Like when we support ourselves, we don't go looking desperately for support in the same kind of way from other people.
Right.
You know? Or when we actually love and give care to ourselves, we don't have this like grasping need for love and attention from other people. And yet we get it at the same time. Super powerful. So when we, again, that reorienting process, we hate it. Let's just be real. Like nobody likes it. It's a hard thing to slow down into and embrace, but everything comes from that. Everything, and at every level of life too, it comes from that, especially when you are going into like greater seasons of responsibility. That is so important.
Yeah.
So good.
So good. Yes.
I love. And I know the other thing I'm excited about for you too, I really feel like all those dreams that we kind of like mentioned earlier, like God is now like queuing those up, because like you can really recognize your seasons, which is cool. But I think he is now bringing those back, right? So as he's starting to reorient you and you start feeling really good in you, doesn't it make sense then you would start flowing in purpose like never before? Hello.
Yeah.
When like a healthy, happy, whole version of you is restored, doesn't that make sense that you would flow in what you're called to do in a different way?
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
Hello. So I'm super excited for that. Like a whole nother level of like creativity.
What's going to come out? What's going to happen?
Yeah. I think we know what some of those things are, but I'm excited for that. Yes. Well, I want to hear too a word of encouragement that you have. So what I love to ask is, it's the end of your life on earth many, many years from now. And you can't take anything that you've built or established here with you, right? Like it doesn't get to stay, like none of that gets to stay. It's just all you can give is a word of advice that can change people's lives, the course of how they live their lives. Like what would you tell people?
Make God your center. Make God the center of everything. Put him first in everything that you do. Because if you do that, then everything else will flow. Everything else will come into place. And there's my favorite song, I can't think of it now because I'm put on the spot, but but yeah, put him, give him the kingdom. No, I'm going to get it wrong, but give him everything and give him your first, and everything else will fall into place. And that would be the one thing I would tell tell everybody is just put God first. And how do you do that? Just sit on that couch, have that quiet time with him, take that walk, talk to him, make him your best friend, make him your companion, and he'll show you, he'll bring everything else into place, but make that your first. Yeah.
Amen. Amen. I also feel, as you were saying that, and even giving like detail to it, which I think is so helpful for people, it's also be honest with God, right? Like, let God know that you're angry with him. Let God know that you're really hurting that he hasn't showed up in this way when you thought he did. Like, God can take it, right? And the more honest we are, the more God can heal that and restore that and bring light to that and life to that and just change it. And so I think sometimes when we feel distant or disconnected, it's because we're not being honest and we're denying something, or we're running, not just from ourselves, which is a big part of it, but we're running from God too. So it's like just having the courage to stop running and be willing to be real with God, right? Like, he is this wonderful counselor that can take anything you got, right? So come boldly to him and be like, this is what I'm dealing with. Like, I am mad at you. I don't get this. And that's okay, right? I think when we're relating with God, we think that we have to follow some sort of formality, and he just wants you.
Yeah.
Right? Just you. So if you just come, like, you will be so moved, and he will overwhelm you with his love and his goodness, no matter what you bring. No matter what you bring, like the worst thing you can think of, no matter what you bring, he will just do that and shift everything. And you'll wonder why you waited so long, right? You don't have to keep doing that to yourself. Like, you can just meet with him and get what you need, but it's going to grow beyond that, where you'll just enjoy meeting with him and you'll just start looking forward to that. And it will be a relationship of your lifetime.
Yeah.
Right. That will bless you beyond measure. Right. Like, he will never leave you and forsake you. And you will have that connection your entire life to help you navigate anything you face. Right.
Exactly.
Huge. Profound.
Yes.
I love that. I think it's such a good wisdom nugget. And I love that you said, like, how do you do that? It's like deciding to. It's like the simplest thing that you're being led to do. It's that thing. You know, go buy the Bible, start reading it, right? Listen to this podcast, right? Like, get a friend, get a mentor, start volunteering, start serving, right? Like, start listening to sermons and people that are preaching the word, because faith comes by hearing, right? So start soaking in it, like start absorbing it in some kind of way, right? Turn off Netflix and watch a sermon, right? Like, there are ways, if we are honest, and we just are great at lying to ourselves sometimes, but if we're honest, like, there are ways that we can make it very real and very practical and simple. You know, I like to have car talk with God all the time, right? Like, oh, like, if I didn't have like a segment of time where I like was really prayerful or intentional in the morning, like, I'll just riff with God in the car for a while and talk about things. Or if he puts someone on my heart, I'll start praying for them. Like, literally could be jamming out, listening to the radio, but it's like, no, I need to talk to God right now.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what you're doing. It doesn't matter, right? So it's like, think about that. Where are these little pockets where I can make space for God? Because if I genuinely want to hear from him, where am I making these pockets of time for him?
Yeah.
And it can be in everything, anywhere, constant conversation. Yes. Yeah. I love it. You're like preaching a whole word to yourself right now, by the way.
Yeah.
Like, gotta hold that part up. I'm like, you just gave yourself your wisdom for this season. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
You just schooled yourself.
I did.
I love it. Well, friend, I want to honor you. I know that it was a huge leap of courage to come and share with everybody today, and I just feel so grateful. I am so proud of you. I feel like I've learned so much about love and God through you. You're just flowing him all the time. You're such a vessel of him, and the way you build community and love people is truly inspiring. And I'm so grateful to get to do life with you and see you on this God journey. So thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. I love you.
I love you. How can people connect with you?
I do have a business, Mary Kay.
Okay.
I do that on the side. That's my side gig.
Okay.
So www.marykay.com, Julia Rabb
Okay.
is how you can connect with me.
Awesome. We'll put it in like the show notes so they can connect with you. And also in the God's Vibes Mastermind or Encourage Co. They can find you and send you a note.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be cool.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
For all the nuggets.
All the nuggets.
Yeah.
We keep them coming around here.
Yes.
Right? I love saying it gets to get better. So, you know, the way God just like lavishes his goodness and puts like these silly, simple wonders everywhere for us to catch, those happen in the mastermind. You guys just don't even know. They just keep coming.
Don't even know. They need to know.
Don't even know.
Need to know. Need to dig.
Gotta get in there.
Need to dig. Yes.
Yeah.
I believe that. Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here, friend. Listen, if you are not plugged into Courage Co yet, what are you doing? Courage Co is a faith-based community off social media that you can access from your phone or your desktop, literally from anywhere. It is a safe place and a sacred space for you to invest in and live your most courageous and impactful story. You can join us for free for prayer calls and challenges, for a monthly subscription where we have monthly masterclasses, or the God's Vibes Mastermind, where you will get live master life coaching at a price that you won't get anywhere else. 12 weeks of content that we will go through together, or you can navigate at your own pace. You'll have lifetime access to that. A community of women doing this alongside of you, a workbook, and so many other materials to help you on your journey. And I just want you to imagine for a second, having the courage, clarity, and focus to achieve anything you desire. Walking into any situation fully confident, knowing you have everything you need to succeed. Embracing challenges and overcoming obstacles with grace and ease. Feeling only love and compassion for others, no matter how they may have hurt you in the past. Standing up for what you believe in and taking unstoppable action to create the kind of world you want to live in. You're in the right place to take your next step on your journey. When you plug into the God's Vibes Mastermind, I'll teach you how to identify and eliminate the self-limiting beliefs and habits that are stopping you from getting the results you want. I'll teach you how to heal old wounds that have negatively impacted your self-image and self-esteem for far too long. I'll show you how to dismantle the story of who you are and what you can or cannot do in the world. I'll help you expand your consciousness from fear-based limitation to love and compassion and service to the world. I'll help you vanquish the inner enemies that are stopping you from being all that you can be. Release your victimhood and reclaim your power. Develop a aligned mindset and habits to boost your productivity and results. Gain deeper awareness of your own inner light and divinity, and achieve the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual self-mastery needed to achieve any goal. You will learn how to think the way God formed, shaped, and anointed you to think, and succeed the way He always intended, and show up in any situation as the most powerful person in the room, no matter what challenges might appear on your path. If this sounds like something that you want to be a part of, I want to invite you to join the God's Vibes Mastermind. You can get plugged into it over at Courage Co. You can access Courage Co at any level at www.courageco.org. Together, we will awaken your inner warrior spirit and unleash your capacity to achieve any goal you can imagine. You will become an example of what's possible with God.